Alrighty, now I'm going to show you, we've placed pretty much all of the components. We still need to put the chip in, but we'll do that soon. So now I'm going to show you how to route the cables. They're a little bit confusing, I suppose. So the red corresponds to the positive symbol on the board, and the positive symbols are both next to the switch. They point. So you want to make sure that the positive cables are on the right side. That's important. So what I do is I route the cables. You can do them one at a time if you want, or both at the same time. I prefer both at the same time. So it's going to go through the top first on the bottom hole. Then through the bottom on the top hole. Give yourself plenty extra because it'll make soldering it a lot easier. Alright, so then now the loudspeaker is the buzzer, and it's the smaller, the thinner wires, and it's the further one away. So hopefully if you've routed this right, and I have actually routed it somewhat backwards, I got my blacks on the right and my reds on the left. So I'm actually going to undo it and do it again, and that's part of the process, unfortunately. But alright, so let's try it again. So we put them together, ideally keeping the orientation the same. The speaker wires on top, the battery ones, the fatter ones on top. Alright, so we stick them through on the first hole. I'm going to try to keep the positives on the right side this time. Stick them through, make sure not to twist it. Then through the top hole, same deal, keep the positives on the right, and it looks good. Also I forgot to leave myself extra wire, so I'm going to pull a bit extra through. Alright, that will work. The positives have stayed on the right. The battery one, for whatever reason, is now on the top, but that's okay. So, alright, so battery one is the one closer to the bottom of the board. So and it's the fatter wire, so that's important. And then the fatter black one on the left, on the bottom, that's the battery. So you can go ahead and solder the battery now if you want, or I'm going to just solder them at the same time. And so then the loudspeaker, which is the buzzer, that's the thin wire. Do the positive on the right, red wire on the right, and black on the left. Soldering them can be a bit annoying. We can go back to the same solution and use tape to hold them in place, and that's what I'm going to do, because they tend to move while you solder them, and it's just a nightmare. So the purpose of the tape is to just keep downward pressure on the wires, and so that's going to hold the lead up through the hole, making it dramatically easier. So okay. And if your wire popped through the hole while you're soldering, it's not really a big deal. The black one kind of did, so what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to just apply a tiny bit of pressure to the wire downward, and then I'm just going to reheat the pad, and then the wire will stick back through the hole. If you need to if you need it to go back through the hole. So sure they all stick out through the hole. That's important. So all of them stick out. If there's a bunch of extra lead, these are a good idea to clip, because if they touch each other, obviously it's going to be a bad day. So I do clip those. All right, cool. So then we have them all soldered. So now we want to, I mean, this is pretty nasty. We don't want to leave it like this. So what we do is we pull it through the bottom. And I tried to get them, you know, don't pull too hard or you'll rip them out of the circuit board, but I try to pull them so that they're close to the board, and then that way they won't wiggle around and cause a connection problem later. Alright, so then now they're down close to the board and I didn't pull on them all that hard. Then I actually put a little bit of pressure on the wires on that side. Then I pull them through the other part. And just make sure, you know, kind of help it, because if it binds up on the edge of the board, it could potentially rip the wire. So do be careful with this. And if they stand up really, really tall, it could just be that they've flipped over in the hole. So change the orientation a little bit. If too many wires are stacked, they're going to stand up really tall, and then they're going to sit pretty high in the case. So what I've done is I've routed two of them around the other two, and then that way it sits, and it actually sits below the black plastic part of the pins, and then that looks pretty good. So that's how you do the wires. I'll see you next video.